Better late than never. Almost every technical piece of equipment I had today was frozen up. Speaking of frozen, wait a minute now. Snowmageddon, the Arctic blast. Has it hit you yet? Now, I want to get this out of the way right away. I want everybody to be safe. I would never downplay this kind of stuff. But you have to kind of admit, the first major snowstorm and Arctic freeze of the season, the Weather Channel is going a little crazy with this, don't you think? And the local yokel meteorologist, maybe, possibly. We'll have some examples of that, too. How about this news, though? Got 'em. Remember the dirtbag riding anarchists that stormed the city's church in Minneapolis last Sunday? 3 of them have been arrested, but not all. It's a very famous, prominent name that's not been arrested yet. Yet being the key word on that one. And we'll talk about already the Super Bowl halftime and pregame entertainment experience is already controversial. And now you have to say, okay, this is by design. The NFL went into this looking at controversy being their biggest seller. You have to think of it that way. Anyway, let's get to it. Sorry for the late start, but if you're listening or watching later, you don't care. This is on your terms and in your time. The Wicked Radio live stream, though, live version, 8 a.m. Eastern time, usually. X and on Facebook and on YouTube, and the audio podcast later on, then a replay on all that good stuff. Let's get right to it. Snowmageddon. Are you freezing yet? Are you cold? Listen, it is a big deal. 200 million people are going to be affected by the Arctic blast. From New Mexico to New England, and the southern states expecting ice and sleet and storm. I get it. It's a serious thing. Let me just ask you, is this possibly, though, being a little overhyped? Did we used to call it Arctic blast? Did we used to call it Snowmageddon? And I swear to God, if Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel this year breaks out Snowacane like he did last year, I may be done. But speaking of hurricanes, it's interesting because apparently they're bringing out the Hurricane Hunter planes for this one into the Arctic snow blast. I thought that was fascinating. But anyway, here's some Weather Channel and local coverage talking about the Snowmageddon.
Here on America's Morning Headquarters, I'm Molly McCullum, and I am in Little Rock, Arkansas, where we truly have the calm before this storm. Today is the day to prepare for what is going to be a major winter storm, not just in Arkansas. We're going from Texas all the way into New England, and that's going to mean cascading travel problems, even if where you are is not seeing any kind of winter weather at all. Let's talk about Arkansas.
See, that's what kills me. This is why this is where it goes into a television marketing event too. Listen, there's no doubt it's a serious storm. It is. I get that. I totally understand. But just what she said right there. So even if you're in an area where this isn't going to affect you at all, oh, you're going to be affected, even if it's travel or something else horrible. Just so stay tuned to the Weather Channel. I get that. It's kind of what they have to do. But what else are they doing to prepare for this thing? This is a little different this year.
We're looking at off the California coast and in the Gulf of Mexico. Why? Well, we need to know how strong that low is off the California coast and in the Gulf of Mexico, how much moisture is going to be pumped into the system. We need to know that data to get a better clue on what's going to happen on the ground.
Have we ever flown concurrent missions outside of a hurricane?
I don't remember this. I've been asking everybody, and everybody's puzzled by it, thinking in the past. But I cannot think of a time that we had both NOAA and the Air Force going into a storm like this. And here's another one.
The Hurricane Hunter planes going into the Snowacane. It's going to be amazing. That was Jim Cantori, by the way. Oh, he'll be all worked up. And again, not trying to downplay the seriousness of a storm this big, but it goes a little far. And this is where I kind of, listen, I grew up in the Northeast. I've been in a hurricane zone for a lot, covered a lot in radio. I've spent more than a few nights in a radio studio covering a hurricane and guiding people through a storm. I totally understand that. But I also understand where the hype comes from. I've seen it in the local yokel forecasters, the National Weather Service people. I get it. Don't take this thing lightly, but also take it with a couple of grains of salt, because you got to understand this is a major programming event for them, and this is the first one of the season. That means this is a big ratings boost. And they bring out other experts like this to help you deal through the storm. Did you need to know this, or is it just common sense?
Dress in layers that trap heat, cover exposed skin, limit your time outdoors, and actually try to avoid alcohol, which can increase heat loss. This is especially true if you have underlying chronic conditions like heart or lung disease. This kind of cold can put extra strain on your body, and don't forget.
It can. It can be a killer. But let me just ask you this. And that was a ABC national broadcast where they had that medical expert in there for the cold. Don't you kind of think that most people who are that susceptible to the cold, I'm thinking they call them unhoused people now, not homeless, they're not watching television. I'm just saying. And sure, you need warm weather shelters, cold weather shelters to keep them warm and all that other stuff. I get that. So here's the takeaway. Yes, it's serious. It's going to affect a lot of people. Travel is going to be a nightmare. That's going to suck. But if you're prepared, and this goes back to hurricane season again, just like that, if you're prepared, you got a plan in place, you do the best you can, you're going to be okay. Listen to the information and stay on top of it. But don't go hysterical and crazy, which is what we're seeing already. And did you see some of the video, some of the reports they have out of Dallas and Houston and Alabama grocery stores? I mean, it's mass hysteria. And I have to say, as much as they try to inform people, a lot of the weather people, especially nationally, they freak you out. Like if you had just watched, and a lot of people are watching the Weather Channel for 3 straight days ahead of this thing, you would be freaked out. Preparation is the antidote to that. I'm just saying. That said, just be safe. All right, we got a little update. Let's go back now. The biggest story of the week. We have an update on this that should make you feel great. Remember the dirtbag, anarchist, communist, Marxist rioters that stormed the church and terrified people in Minneapolis on Sunday? Here's a little refresher and a little review of what that was.
Tell us why you're doing this.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now.
Today we had the honor to protest with Nikema Armstrong and the Racial Justice Network. Just like Jesus did, we went into that church and we flipped tables peacefully.
Just like Jesus did, right? Lunatics. But here's the good news. Not all of them have been arrested. In fact, there's a very prominent name still outstanding on that list, but we'll get to him in a second. The first lady you heard there was Nikita Levy Armstrong, just mentioned. She is a BLM member. No big deal there. But she was one of the church stormers talking to Don Lemon in the clip, saying what they just did and what they plan to do. And then the second guy who's been all over the news, and I talked about him a lot this week, he is the woke farmer, as he's known as online. Well, them along with another dirtbag, all three of them have now been arrested, and they are in FBI custody. So there's your Friday good news. How about that? Now, a little interesting here. I have to point out the irony because I think this is fascinating. You might remember, I think it was on Tuesday, I played a clip of an interview with Harmeet Dillon, Assistant Attorney General, and she was talking to Benny Johnson in his podcast, and she said, we can go after these people under the Klan Act. And Benny was a little confused. So was I. So she went on to describe the Klan Act, where you're not supposed to, attack groups of people at once for their gathering, and this is what they got them on. Well, apparently, that turned out to be true. And I'm sorry, I find it ironic that Nikema Levy Armstrong, Black Lives Matter organizer in Minneapolis, has been arrested under the Klan Act. I'm sorry, if you can't see the irony in that is something. But you might have noticed something here. There's another name that hasn't been arrested quite yet that we all thought would be first and foremost. He admitted he organized it, was there to film it, has obviously gotten all kinds of social media clicks from it. Why hasn't Don Lemon been arrested? Hold on a second. Has he or has he not? Apparently not, and he's doing a victory lap, even though he's saying he's not doing a victory lap.
I stand proud and I stand tall. This is not a victory lap for me because it's not over. They're going to try again, and they're going to try again. And guess what? Here I am. Keep trying. That's not going to stop me from being a journalist. You're not going to diminish my voice. Go ahead, make me into the new Jimmy Kimmel if you want. Because I'm not going in.
Huh? No, he's loving this because he's been just, he fell off the side of the earth over this after he got dispatched from CNN. This is what always gets me, though. All of these people, and let's be honest and let's be big boys and girls here. There are some people on the right that are the exact same thing that call themselves journalists, but have an angle. You're not a journalist when you're an agitator. You're not. Journalists, by the true sense of the word, are supposed to just report facts. He's not a journalist. He was an agitator. He admitted he was part of this. He admitted he organized this and then put it on video and got millions upon millions upon millions. All the coverage came from his part in this, from his perspective, and talking pre and post anarchist event, talking to these agitators who were now arrested. But he's not. Why? Why hasn't he been arrested? Well, reportedly, it came out that the magistrate in that area in Minnesota the judge is married to somebody that works in Keith Ellison's office. He's the attorney general from Minnesota and is a good friend of Don Lemon. Gotta figure. Now, you hope with Don Lemon, and he would love this to be a martyr in this case. You would hope that he would say, come get me, make me the new Jimmy Kimmel, whatever the hell that means. You would hope that they would say, okay, game on, just like they did with these other 3 idiots this week. Maybe they can bypass that and go around, but I would love to see. He wants this to happen. Let's let it happen. Let's let him be a martyr, because it's not going to last long. But here's the big takeaway for you, me, and everybody else that's watching stories like this. As horrified as we were, that now we're at a level with these clueless idiots storming churches and terrifying churchgoers, a Sunday worship in Minneapolis. As horrifying as that is, this should make you feel good. None of them are smart. I mean, truly. This is why I say this. They billboarded, in other words, broadcast and explained exactly what they were going to do into that church. It's on video. You just heard it. They did it. And after the fact, wouldn't stop talking about it, including Don Lemon, who's dumb enough to say, come get me, instead of looking a gift horse in the mouth. That's the takeaway. And that's the good news. These are the dumbest of the dumb. And to make them even more dangerous, they think they're smart, but they're really not, because they're obvious, always, every single time, telegraphing their moves. That's a major, major superpower we have over them. People with common sense and just a couple of brain cells will always be steps ahead of those idiots, despite the damage that they do. You just have to have people in power that have the balls to go after idiots like that. And apparently so far we do. I also have to wonder, all the criticism that's been levied against the Trump Department of Justice, specifically Pam Bondi, are people happy now? Maybe you made it a little better. I don't know. We'll see. Who the heck knows? All right. It's been a heavy week again. Let's get out of that for a second and talk about some fluff. Some fluff news, entertainment news that is still going to make you a little mad. But now I think we know. Now I think we can say it's all by design. So this weekend, as you may know, are the conference championships in the NFL. Some of the most watched, by the way, television note. If you don't think the NFL is still king of all programming and entertainment in the country, last week's divisional playoff game, not even the championships, the divisional playoff game between the Patriots and the Houston Texans was the most watched television event in ESPN's history. History. 30, I think it was 34, 35 million people. You may not like it and you may not be happy about it, but the NFL is king. It just is. So we got the conference championships. We'll decide the 2 teams after this weekend who's going to the Super Bowl. And you know what that means? 2 weeks of straight hype. And I thought maybe coming up next week, they always leak out the Super Bowl commercials early. I'll have some of those for you. We'll see. Got just a feeling, because things have been changing in the television advertising world, that people want to be entertained more, and it's less, I think, less woke. I think the commercials are going to be pretty good this year. That's my early guess anyway. But what about the halftime show? What's that going to be like? We already talked about this. You know it's going to be Bad Bunny. Latin American, Puerto Rican actually, hip-hop superstar. He says it's going to be in Spanish. He's already spoken about, not a big fan of America. Let's see, he hates Trump. He has said before, leading up to this, again, they always telegraph their moves. He said he wants to make this an anti-ICE statement. Okay, whatever. Also this now. Bad Bunny plans to use the Super Bowl halftime show, this is according to Variety magazine, the halftime show to honor queer icons, and plans to wear a dress. I'm not really shocked by that. I kind of thought that was going to be the case, to be honest with you. But I also thought this until now, that the NFL was just going, okay, he's a big star. You know, he's got the most downloads on Spotify. He's a huge star right now. Let's just go with it. And just based on that, just based on eyeballs they can bring into the national stage. Even though people like you and me would love a rock show. Like, why can't Metallica play the Super Bowl? Tell me why. Anyway, so I thought maybe it was just a bunch of dopey white executives not understanding exactly what the entertainment factor would be in this, and that's all it was. I think that's changed now, because now they start to fill in the entire day's broadcast entertainment elements now, because they have a pregame show as well. That's become a pretty big artist thing too. Well, they've announced the pregame performer might be outside the stadium, but whatever. It's still televised to tens of millions of people. The NFL, fully sanctioned pregame performer, among others, headliner of pregame, is Green Day. Now I have to say, okay, they're going for controversy on purpose. They want the controversy to happen with this. Why would Green Day be controversial? You may know the name, maybe you know some songs. Do you know some of this?
No KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump.
Yeah, the All-American event. I don't know. I don't think the NFL is going to step in and say, you can't do that song. You can't do that kind of stuff, because they're going to do it anyway. And if it's a live event, which I'm almost positive there's going to be no delay on it, they're going to do whatever they want. So now I got Bad Bunny, which I pretty much think was just NFL executives and bringing it up to Roger Goodell. He's like, I don't know. I guess, the kids love him. Let's sign him. We'll do that. But now you have Green Day, who nobody's been more vocal against all of that stuff. You just heard it right there. No ICE, no Trump, no KKK, whatever the hell it is, right? Okay, now they're doing this on purpose. So just get ready for that kind of controversy for the Super Bowl. Because I think the takeaway is, I think what we're able to understand here is that's all by design. And I'm not even dreading that, because I expect it. Green Day, Bad Bunny, it's going to suck. We haven't had a good halftime show in years, right? Here's what I'm dreading. The Monday morning after the Super Bowl. Because it's so predictable. We can predict exactly what it's going to be now. You're going to have this wave of people saying, it was so brave, and it was amazing, and it was just so incredible. And then you can have most of the rest of the country, 80% of the other people saying, hey, this is crap. I'll never watch the NFL again. I'll never do this. I'm going to boycott. No, you're not. The NFL is still going to be king, and people are going to shout down the idiots who love the halftime show, and it's going to be more controversy, whatever. And the only winner coming out of that, besides the winner of the actual football game, is going to be the NFL. Because it will, once again, just by the nature of the sport and how much we love it, be the number one most watched event in television history, as it is every single year, as it grows and grows. Just get ready for it. Because if you're ready for it, you can't be fooled, and you can just laugh at it. Or it'll give you time during pregame or halftime to walk away from the television and get some good food, right? Right. But don't let that ruin your great American experience, regardless of what team's in it. I love the Super Bowl. It is the American, truly American, unique event, so don't let that ruin it. And we'll find out after this weekend who's going. We'll see. Thanks for finding me. I appreciate you. Even starting the show a little late today. Technical problems. But if you're watching or listening later on the replay, that doesn't affect you at all. On X, on Facebook, and on YouTube, audio podcast downloads as well, which, again, I always say are growing faster than anything else by leaps and bounds. So thank you so much for the subscribes on whatever audio podcast you like to hang out with. Appreciate you that so much. And then the live stream, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. on these same channels right here. It is the weekend. Don't get so bogged down by all of this crazy news. If you've got some common sense, you can see through it all. It's all going to be okay, and we're going to be back together on Monday. And if you are stuck in the Snowmageddon states, the Armageddon, the Snowmageddon, the Arctic freeze, the Arctic blast, just put a sweater on. You're going to be okay. Be safe. I'll talk to you later.